Jay Summers is another weekend of movies. Wow. Look at Colin behind him. I think he's running after Tony. Yes, we got several movies to talk about. Battle of Small Player, which
Mhm.
you're going to talk about. I didn't get a chance to see it. So tell us about Ballad.
So it follows a gambling addict that's lost in the city of Macau. And it really is, it's from Edward Berger, who's made three very distinctly different films now. Started with All Quiet on the Western Front, then last year's Conclave, and now this film. And it is truly it's a dizzying experience. The colors pop off the screen. It's tense, it's gripping, it's electrifying. I had a lot of fun with this one. It really just shows the downside of gambling. So if you are a gambling addict, don't take too much offense to this. But Colin Farrell gives a tremendous performance. I thought he was excellent in this. Volker Bertelmann, who's one of my favorite composers going right now after last year's Conclave score, another pounding score that I can't wait to listen to over and over. The film gets a little bit lost in the middle there. I'm fortunate enough to have watched it a second time now. I can appreciate it more the second time around, but with that first go, there's a little bit of a pacing issue there in the middle. But overall, very entertaining. Colin's performance is fantastic. I just wish there was a little bit more to get out of it, but it is kind of a cautionary tale of addiction. But I give it a 3.5 to 4 out of 5. So I'm going to say 3.5, but it is definitely worth a watch. It'll be in limited theaters this week and be on Netflix here in a couple weeks.
Now, mention the director again. He had Conclave, and what was the other one?
All Quiet on the Western Front.
He's a great director, man. You
Yeah.
got to give him kudos for those two movies. So, okay. Now, up next, as he changes, after the hunt is what we're going to talk about. I'd say very interesting. Woo! I'm going to talk a little bit about this. A college professor finds herself at a personal and professional crossroad when the star student levels an accusation against one of her colleagues, threatening to expose a dark secret from her own past. We're talking about After the Hunt. It stars Julia Roberts, Andrew Garfield, Ayo Edebiri, if I'm saying that right. You know I mess everything up. And Michael Stolberg. Talk about it a little bit. I mean, you talk about it first because that was pretty intense for a movie filmed at Yale University. I have to mention that because I have coffee with a Yale graduate, so got to mention Yale University. It's a beautiful campus. What I thought, I'll talk a little bit. Okay, I'll talk. I'm talking too much anyway, right? So anyway, I thought it was first of all very intelligent conversation. Uh, it was the college campus move, especially the after parties that usually happen at big college campuses anyway, with a lot of food and a lot of drinking. Um, and then we moved into the mysterious part just by somebody simply using the bathroom. That's where everything starts getting really interesting. Tony.
Yeah, so I'm a massive fan of Luca Guadagnino. I think he's done some great work. Call Me by Your Name still stands the test of time, even though it's not that long ago. Last year, Challengers and Queer, strong films. This one just has all the ingredients to make something really special, but the pacing is awful. I mean, it is a slog to get through. It is a long film, and it covers some very important and heavy subjects: sexual assault, coercion, power struggles, all of these things, but it never takes a stance on anything. And I think it really does a disservice to the finished product. It just never really has a soulful or like a central message, which I understand not every film needs, but it just at the end of the day, it's a very well acted period piece.
Speaking of period piece, there was a very two strong messages in that movie that are very relevant today. And I'll let the audience see the movie and figure out which two we're talking about. And they both involve Julia Roberts and Ayo. Very interesting. He said it was slow pace. It was long. There's the very ending scene where we thought it was the ending of it, and it went to black. It popped up with another 5 or 10 minutes of what? We didn't need that. It's what? How long is that? 2 hours and how many minutes?
I think 2 hours and 24, if I remember
Felt like
correctly.
24 hours. That's what it felt like more than anything else. Andrew Garfield, I enjoyed his acting in this. He's really very good. Ayo was pretty good, and Julia Roberts still good. I'm going to give it at least 3.5 out of 5. Tony?
I'm between a 3 and 3.5. 3.5 because the cast is fair, but this is it's a very well constructed and well made film, but it just isn't a very entertaining one, unfortunately. So I would have liked to have seen him fine tune things, but when you look at it, he did not write this, and I think that kind of says why there's the issues that are present, why they're there.
You know, Ayo should have got on the phone and let it ring because when we're on to our next one, Black Phone 2. Here we go, Black Phone 2. Tony, take it away.
Look, I'm a massive fan of the first film. I think what they did there with the grabber was one of the nice, like the greatest villains for horror villains in this century at least. You know, I won't say the best, but it's one of. And to bring him back after the events of that first film, it really needed to have a nice touch and really kind of make sense. And I thought they really did a great job, not just exploring that, but really expanding on things that they established in that first film. So it does borrow a lot from 70s and 80s horror films. To number one is Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, but I thought they did it in a really constructive way, a way that made sense. And it's chilling. It relentlessly preys on your fears. And for someone that, like I said, I was really cautious going into this. When you come back into something that was essentially finished, I thought they did a really nice job.
I think they did a pretty good job too. It was almost at a point. I guess we've been watching too many movies where it was almost predictable, almost predictable. There were a couple of scenes in there that were like, "Wow, that caught me off guard." But I'm tired of it. Somebody turning around and all of a sudden somebody's there, and then the music hits you and tries to make you jump and scare. I'm tired of that. But I enjoyed the rest of it. Now, what was more interesting was at the very end of the film, and it was so predictable for me. Nobody else got it, but I was like, I know who's calling this time. The very last call. You knew what was going on. If you look at Tony smiling down and look at the mask next to him, no, there's no comparison. Anyway, I'm going to give it about 3.5 out of 5. Tony, what would you give it?
I agree. I think a 3.5 out of 5 is fair. You know, it's a lot of the film is borrowed from past films. I think they pay homage very well, but it's not anything original by any means. But there are some solid scares. The first one's more of a thriller. This is definitely more of a horror based, entry. But Ethan Hawke as the grabber is fantastic. Mason Thames and Madeline McGraw. It's nice to see their characters again. So just to extend the expansion of the lore, someone who really liked that first story and to expand it in a way that they did, and some revelations are made. If you're at all a fan of the first film, I definitely think you should watch this.
And I was definitely a fan of the first film, and Mason did a good job. So did Madeline. Uh, Ethan Hawke, it's interesting to me because all I felt like he was behind the mask and just talking, and that was it. But then all of a sudden, when they started doing things, I was like, okay, okay, you got me now. All right, that's it, folks. Have a great weekend at the movies. Go see it on a big screen. Don't watch it streaming at home. Go to the big screen. Have a great weekend.